Hello everyone, Shintai here, and recently I've been playing Fire Emblem Awakening. Yes, I know everyone is playing Fire Emblem Fates and they're playing Birthright, Conquest, Revelation, and all that good stuff. But cut me some slack, I only just recently got myself a 3DS, and it's actually the first DS handheld I have ever owned, so I have a ridiculous amount of catching up to do. But that being said, I've mainly been focusing on Fire Emblem Awakening as of this recording, and I've been enjoying myself quite a lot, and I actually hope to do a full video on it when I finish the game. But for now, we're going to talk about the somewhat of an anomaly that is this game's success. To those that are unaware, Fire Emblem Awakening was initially conceived to be the swan song of the Fire Emblem series. It was meant to be the final game because the series was waning in popularity and they meant for this to be the final hurrah. Well, that didn't happen. What ended up happening was the game was a huge success. It sold crazy amounts of copies and it did so well that it brought about Fire Emblem Fates, which is, again, like I said before, Birthright, Conquest, and Revelations. Yeah, this game did so well, it inspired them to make 3 games at the same time. That's pretty insane. Which made me think, what about this game was so different from the other games that made it stand out so much and sell as well as it did? I want to get some of the obvious stuff out of the way first, because there are a lot of really clear reasons as to why this game was as successful as it was. But afterwards, I want to go into a reason that I don't think is mentioned as much, and I think it's very interesting. But first and foremost, one of the biggest reasons is the simple fact that Nintendo actually decided to market this game. Who would have thought? People knowing that your game exists because you told them helps you sell your game. Yeah, just the simple fact that Nintendo actually bothered to tell people about their game helped sales. But another big reason is that this is the most accessible game in the series. Some argue that Birthright is more accessible, but just for the sake of argument, talking about strictly Awakening, when this game came out, it was the most accessible in the series. And a pivotal reason for that is the ability to grind. While you can grind in some Fire Emblem games because of the arena, this game lets you grind in whatever area you want. If you've beaten a chapter, you can go back to it with a Reeking box that you can buy for relatively cheap, at least on the normal difficulty. On higher difficulties, the Reeking box is super expensive. But for most newcomers who are playing on normal, they can get the Reeking box for a relatively low price, and then they can use it to grind for experience and gold, because you would buy the Reeking box, and then you would fight an enemy that has an item that you can sell for twice the price of the Reeking box, making it so that you're spending money to make even more money. So the fact that you can comfortably level up your characters and grind for gold made the game much easier for newcomers. But even bigger than that is the addition of casual mode, something that can be attached to any of the difficulties, whether it be normal, hard, or lunatic. You can attach casual mode, which allows you to save whenever you want, and any characters that die in that battle will only be gone for the duration of that battle and will come back once you're finished, as opposed to playing on classic mode, which means you cannot save during battles, and when your character dies, they are fucking dead. They are completely gone. They will not be coming back. So I think these are like the most pivotal reasons as to why this game was a success. It's more accessible, and Nintendo actually let people know that this game was coming out and it existed. But you know what? That's all fucking boring, because it's clear, it's obvious, it's no shit, Sherlock. So what we're going to talk about, I think, is much more interesting. Again, I am conceding to the fact that the other reasons I just stated are the main reasons why this game was a success. But this reason that I'm going to bring up is, I think, a contributing factor to this game's success. And that is the support conversations and the shipping. So if you don't know what I mean by either of those terms, let me explain. The support conversations is something that's been in the series for a while now, but this game takes it, at least to my knowledge, the furthest it has been in the series. My experience with the series is mainly with Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn, and I can tell you based on those games that the support conversations were fairly basic. It was simply characters would talk to each other, their relationship would grow a little bit, but it never really went further than that. I believe if you had those characters fight next to each other, their stats would go up a little bit, but it wasn't anything that really impacted the gameplay all that much. Enter Fire Emblem Awakening and they take this to the next level. What you can do is you can have characters stand them next to each other and their stats would go up. But what you can also do is a mechanic called pairing up, where the two characters are actually treated as one unit when they're joined together. And this raises whoever is treated as the leader of the pair is given even more stat bonuses and is a really powerful unit. And occasionally, if your chances are good, the other character that's paired up will occasionally attack the enemy as well. And the higher the support between these two characters, the higher the stats and the higher the chance that both characters will attack as opposed to just one. This is much more fleshed out. There's a lot more going on here. Not only that, but if you can get two characters up to the S rank of the support system, then they'll get married and they'll have a kid. And the skills of the parents will go down to the children. So there's all of these great gameplay benefits from the support system, but there is another underlying attraction of this support system, and that is simply that you are now a glorified matchmaker. Now, some people don't care about that sort of thing. They're just in it for the gameplay, and to be fair, the game still encourages you to do it. Even if you don't care about that specifically, it still encourages you to do it because of the gameplay benefits. But there are a lot of people that really love shipping characters. And now if you don't understand what I mean by shipping in that context, it's a very anime thing. This is something that anime fans love to argue about all the time. Oh, the main character's obviously going to get with this girl. No, they're going to get with that girl. Or no, they should be with that other girl. That kind of thing. Just shipping is basically romantically linking two characters together. And I really do honestly feel like the developers of Fire Emblem Awakening kind of looked at this trend that goes on in anime communities and they said, why don't we just let the players choose themselves? And it is pretty fucking brilliant if you ask me, because they've managed, again, like I just went into this extraneous explanation of how it has all of these gameplay benefits, but just these simple base desires of wanting to see these characters that you like become romantically inclined with each other. This is something that a lot of people really like and really get into. And you don't just put them together, they get married and have a kid, and that's all there is to it. You actually see their relationships grow and develop. At first, they may not necessarily like each other, but then as you keep putting them together and they keep talking to each other, you see that their relationships grow and develop and they begin to actually fall in love. But I think what makes it even more brilliant is the fact that you can create your own character. And this character can get with almost any character. You can make him male or female. In fact, if you make a female character, if you really wanted to, you can pair your character with the actual story protagonist, because you're one of the main characters, but you're not the main character. Prom is the main character. And if you really want to, you could ship yourself with him. I mean, it's up to you. But you can essentially get with almost any character that joins your party, which is, again, brilliant, because not only are you this glorified matchmaker for all of the characters in your army, but you are a matchmaker for yourself as well, and you get to pair yourself with your favorite character. Now, I'm sure some people are skeptical and think, is that really enough to make much of a difference? Do people really care about that sort of thing? Yeah, actually, and admittedly, this is some anecdotal evidence, but I have some friends, and if you guys are watching this, you know who you are. I managed to sell the game to 3 friends. One of them didn't have a 3DS, which I didn't know, so he couldn't actually buy the game, but he said that when he gets a 3DS, that he's going to get it. But 2 other friends of mine who have 3DSs bought the game, and all I did was really just talk about this matchmaking element of the game and how it has a gameplay benefit. And that alone sold them on the game, which I think is very telling. It really shows how people actually really do like doing this sort of thing. And being an anime fan, I can tell you for a fact that, again, as I mentioned earlier, this is something that a lot of anime fans like to do. But it's also important to realize that a lot of anime fans are also people that enjoy playing video games. Now, not necessarily, there are plenty of anime fans who are strictly only anime fans, and that's where they end it. But there are a lot of anime fans that are also really big into gaming. So that means that Fire Emblem Awakening opened up this whole new audience of anime fans that are, one, attracted to Fire Emblem Awakening because of the anime aesthetic, but also because it feeds into this desire to matchmake that a lot of anime fans seem to have. Again, this is some anecdotal evidence. I don't have any graphs or statistics or anything that I could show you. This is just based on my personal experience, so please just take it as that. But I don't think it's really a stretch to say that all of this combined did add to the game's sales. I just contributed to the game's sales just based on talking about this element of the game. So I think it's interesting to think about. I think would also explain Fire Emblem Fates' success to a certain degree, which has actually been doing better than Fire Emblem Awakening. So what do you guys think? Do you think I'm off the mark? Do you think that this is not really something that added to the game's sales and that it really was only the stuff I mentioned earlier on? Or do you agree with me and you think, yeah, while the marketing and the accessibility of the game were the main reasons why it sold, this was probably also another driving force for this game's success. This has been Shintai. Take it easy, everyone.